Now, purchasing a home will very likely be the biggest expense you'll have in your lifetime.
It will be, but along with the cost of the home, there comes those other expenses. So which ones can you expect to incur?
I'll tell you what, we're finding out from Troy Trum, realtor with Keller Williams Realty. Good to see you, Troy.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for stopping in.
Welcome
I think
back.
about, I've owned 2 houses in my lifetime, and the second one was an upgrade from my first one. But, and of course we spent more and it was a bigger house. And I guess I didn't realize all the other things that come with buying a bigger house and all the expenses. So what are all the expenses that come in with purchasing a newer home?
I'd say first is insurance. General rule of thumb for insurance is about $800 per $100,000 worth of home value.
Gotcha.
So coverage on a $300,000 home would be about $2,400 a year. And of course that can vary depending on the insurance company and the type of coverage. Other things to consider are maintenance expenses. You can plan on about 1% of the home's value per year in maintenance costs.
1%. Okay, yeah, I'm thinking about that. So yeah, okay.
And that can, of course, vary. It's not going to be evenly spread out throughout the years of ownership.
Right.
Some years are going to be lower, and some years, like when a furnace, air conditioner, roof need to be replaced, are going to be much higher. Best thing to do is budget ahead of time, save that 1% a year and earmark it for home maintenance. And one way to reduce those expenses is to buy a home warranty. A home warranty costs about $500 a month, and it covers the appliances, the heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical systems. So when one of those systems breaks down, there's a deductible, usually about $75 to $100 that gets paid, and a technician comes out and makes the needed repairs or replacements. And so that's a good way of mitigating those costs ahead of time.
Yeah, a lot of people choose that option. I've heard more and more of that recently.
So when buyers are looking for a home, how can they, figure out how much they can spend on the home?
Well, first step, of course, is meet with a lender. Lender will be able to tell them how much they can borrow for a mortgage and what their monthly payments will be. But knowing that alone doesn't mean they can actually afford the monthly payment. Often a buyer will look at the monthly payment and compare that to their income, but that's not what they should be comparing it to. They should be comparing it to their current expenses. Look and see, based on all the other expenses they have, at the end of the month, how much money is left. If buying a home means an additional $1,500 a month expense, they should check their past spending history and see, do they consistently have $1,500 left at the end of each month? If they don't, then they need to look at where they're spending their money at and see what they can reduce.
Yeah, sometimes people just don't factor in the property taxes when it comes to their mortgage, because you pay those, most people pay those monthly, built in with their mortgage, as they would some of those other expenses. So it's important to factor in property taxes.
Right. Yeah, Nebraska has some of the highest property taxes in the country. Last time I looked, Nebraska was the 7th highest in the nation. And the property taxes are affected by the county the home's in and the school district. And biggest factor, of course, is how much the home is worth. Property taxes, they change. They frequently go up. They very rarely come back down.
As we've seen, yeah.
When I meet with a buyer, I can give them an estimate of what their property taxes will be based on how much they're looking at spending and what part of town they want to live within.
Now, is there any getting out of those? I mean, you have to pay them, right?
Well, unless you want the county to take your house away,
Yes.
the only way of getting out of paying property taxes is to get a homestead exemption.
Okay.
Now, homestead exemption will eliminate all or part of an owner's property tax bill. People who are 65 or older or who have a disability may qualify for a homestead exemption based on their income and property value. And veterans with 100% service-related disabilities and their widows qualify regardless of income and property value.
Gotcha. Okay, so there are a couple exemptions there. Utilities, electrical, gas, those add up too on a monthly basis as well. How do you factor in utilities when you're looking at buying a new house?
Well, the Department of Energy says the average family spends $2,200 a month on, or pardon me, $2,200 a year on utilities. And the best way to plan ahead of time, if you want to know the utilities on a specific home, is call the utility companies and get the average for the last year. Now, of course, that property has been vacant for a couple months. That number will be artificially low.
Sure.
And those utilities that a family pays will depend on 2 things. One is the home itself, the quality of the construction, how much insulation it has, the quality of windows. The second is their usage of the home. What do they set the thermostat to? How often do they leave the TV on when nobody's watching it, which is a problem at my house.
Well, that happens, yeah, especially if you have young kids. Trumteam.com, that's a website you can go to for all things real estate. The market is still a seller's market out there, isn't it, Troy?
In most price ranges, it is.
Trumteam.com, that's the website, or call 884-4848. Troy, thanks for your time
Thanks,
this morning.
Troy.
Glad to be here.
See you soon.
Yeah, it's good to see you.